So I feel very excited to be able to share with you a new electrical appliance. Has anybody seen this before? It's the Mark II. The previous one, the Perfect Curl one, just had one barrel, and it had several heat and time sort of gauges on there, so you could get different curls. So the fundamental difference is this: is you've got 3 curls. That's why we've got 3 girls, so we could show you what it does from the larger barrel all the way through. So essentially, you've got to trust the appliance. I've got to be honest, I've only got hold of it Tuesday last week before we did the press launch of it. So we got the prototype. And I've used the Curl Secret, and you use it and you kind of think, oh my God, it's going to catch. So I would always go back to using a tongue. But this one is a lot more robust. I'll start off with Chelsea, actually, just to show you how easy it is to use. So we've got the settings. I've got it on the hottest setting at 210. Just for speed, really. If I was going to use it in the salon or get a client to use it, I'd do it at about 190. We've got it set on a larger barrel, and the idea you can see from previously is we're just going to create a soft sort of bend, S-shaped bend in the hair, and that's more current. It's more sort of now it's almost an undone. Now previously, when I've had to create this shape and this curl with a tongue, it's the kind of thing you put that in on a large barrel, you get that, and 5 minutes later it drops. So the good thing about this is, I think with a tongue you go around, it's just at the ends. You can't help on long hair that you double wrap it and the heat doesn't penetrate all the way through. So this is an air heated chamber. Actually, I need to show you, but then I can explain, then you'll understand. So there's a couple of rules with it. You need to hold it vertically. You need to have the chamber where the velvet is always to the scalp all the way around. We decided that a curl that goes away from the face is better on both sides, so there's a setting for that. It's really easy to remember. So when you're doing the left side, you've got it on the left setting, right side right, so it mirrors it, and it still takes it away from the face on the other side. And we take a reasonable size section, and you just make sure that there's little tangle in there as possible. Just check it's there. And then you've got to really trust the appliance. And as long as you pop it into the chamber, and I hold it, and this is what I found difficult, was that with an iron or a tongue, I want to put pressure and I want to force it in. You really don't need to, and that's the key thing. You've got to trust the appliance. You just pop it in, and I hold it out because I don't want it to get caught when I clamp it into the chamber, and then literally you just close and it takes it in. Now it looks like it sucks it in. It isn't actually. There's a hook that catches that and wraps it evenly around inside the chamber. You can't hear it. It's beeping, so it's telling me, and you get a series of beeps when it's ready. And then what I do is just gently release it because it's still hot, but then you're left with a soft curl. Once you get your head around it, it's really easy to use. Like I said, the hardest thing to do is to trust it. So take the tangle, pop it in the chamber, have it upright, clamp it. You've got to be confident when you clamp it. You can't hesitate, otherwise it won't. It kind of thinks it's tangled and it'll spit it out. If it does tangle, it stops immediately anyway, so there's no chance of getting it wrapped in there and sort of getting it tangled up. And then again, just release that out. We'll split this into 2. In, close it. And then release it. I'll do the last one. And then I'll release Chelsea's hair and I'll dress it out. We used Chelsea yesterday. Chelsea, we asked her to keep her hair the same in the morning, and the curls lasted, so it was really long lasting. When I did the press launch, the girl that I used there had much coarser hair and a lot more density of hair. Sorry, I just changed that over. And she was still posting on Instagram, and that curl was still in there. It lasted. So it's good. Actually, it's my favorite. It surprised me, because whenever I try to achieve this, it normally just drops out within 20 minutes or so. Okay, pop your head back for me. Actually, I'll turn you around. That's it. So because it's been pinned back, so I just rake my fingers through, and then I use, literally just releasing it and scrunching the hair, and you can see you almost get that just beachy, undone finish to the hair, which is really current, very difficult to do. It's almost like an undone finish. But when it's in, when you get some air into it and just scrunch it, just sits in. I'll just spin you back round, Chelsea. So the only product we've put in there was just a tiny bit of mousse, really, just before we dried it off, just so it had something for the heat to sort of set it off. And then all I'm doing is literally with my fingers just pushing that into place, lifting it through. Okay, so that's the largest barrel. So that's the kind of effect it will give you. Obviously, if you take smaller sections, it'll be more defined. You'll be pushed to take a bigger section because the chamber's only so big, so it will only take so much into there. Can we unplug this, Patrick, and go to the other side? Sorry, Chelsea. Yeah. So when it goes back to the smaller chamber, you can see there's a smaller barrel in there. And then there's a setting where, just switch that over. That's it. So this is like the first one, it's just a smaller barrel. What this will give you is more of a defined curl. This is the same barrel, and then the next setting, there's prongs, a series of prongs come out. So when the hair is in there, the prongs come out and twist it and give it the extra turn, so you get a really tight curl, which I'll show you with Natalie afterwards. But what I tried to teach, or what I've realized is, even though you get a soft curl, it's the same application. It's just you've got to trust the machine that you've changed the barrel around and you're going to get a different size curl. So using the same rules, have the chamber facing towards the scalp. Make sure there's as least tangle as possible. And then you pop it into the chamber really loosely, clamp it, let it take it in, and then we'll leave it for a few minutes, let the heat work. And then just take it out, and then you get a really nice defined curl. So it's on the setting for left, so it'll take it away from the face. So again, just pop it in. Hang on, there's a slight tangle in there. Interesting. Drop it in, hold it, and then clamp, and then let the machine work. I think for us as a hairdresser, I quite like it. I'm certainly going to put it in my session kit. But when you go out and about, sometimes you've got to take several tongs. Once you learn what you can get away with this, you don't have to stick to the rules. I mean, they're only there for guidelines, so you will be able to get a variation of different waves and curls from the 3 that I'm showing you today. But the key thing for me with this is that it actually, once you've got the curl in there, it lasts. It doesn't drop so much. You can see this has been done this morning, but it's still got something in there. Can I swap places with you? Sorry. So go to the right side, so we knock it down to the setting that will turn it the opposite way. And again, using the same technique. Chamber facing the scalp. Hold it in there, clamp it, and let the hook take it and let it go inside the chamber. There you go, it drops, you get a decent curl. Drop it in, clamp it. It's a good boomerang. Drop that, just do one more. Still cooling down, so I take it out quite gently. Thanks, Patrick. So that's just a gloss spray to make my brush glide through it. You pop your head back for me? Actually, I can turn you to the side then they can see it. So, like with all BABYLISS Pro tools, once you've got the foundation in there and you've used it, you've got to trust it. So I'm not frightened to go in there. I've got no static with all the technology they've got there, so I don't need to worry about anything fluffing up. I can get in, be confident, use my brush, work the hair. That's it, just make sure all that goes through. You get nice waves. Again, just pop your head back for me, sorry. And I do the same thing. I just lift it to get some air inside there to release some of the wave and the curl. I just spin you around. We'll split that and let that fall. We just use my fingers to break that slightly and push it into place. But it's really easy and you get a really lovely finish every time. Stretch, yeah, we'll get it. So Natalie, our last model, this is where you get a really nice tight curl. And again, same rule of thumb. If you take a smaller section, the tighter the curl it's going to be. So with this one, it's a similar curl to the defined curl. But what you're going to do when you pop it in, get the tangle out, pop it in there, trust the machine, let it work, and you're going to get like a 13mm tongue really, a bit like a telephone wire when it's finished. Actually, the more I use it, the more I like it, the more I'm starting to trust it. So same again, tangle, pop it into the chamber, loosely, trust it, hold it, and then just let it go in. Easy. So there we go, just release that there. No, we're done. So Natalie's a lot of hair, so we did a lot of this work and prepped it earlier. You'd have all been asleep watching me do a full head of curls. Again, I can trust the machine, I can trust that the work's been done, so I can brush through. Just releasing all that curl. Are you okay to put your head forward for me? So we took a small section with this one going through, but you can see the texture in there. Actually, it only took me about 20 minutes to do it. It didn't take that long at all. Okay, Natalie, throw your head back. So you see the volume and everything we get. I mean, she's got loads of hair. She's got amazing hair for this, but it's just a beautiful texture. And for a machine like a tongue, it still works like a natural curl for me. Just lightly put a little bit of spray once we've got the air traveling through it. It's the hairdresser in me, can't leave it alone. Okay, so the machine really did surprise me when I got hold of it on Tuesday. So hopefully you can see how diverse it is from going through the larger barrel. You get a really nice, soft, beachy, natural wave in the hair, going through to a defined curl that you can work with. Not tight, you could scrunch it and you can release it, but you just get a really nice finish and a wave through there. So having the tightest curl where you're going to get a lot of volume and a lot of texture and more of a natural curl through there. Thank you for listening. I know it's been quick, but I've got to go through it all quite quickly. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Darren Webster, and of course, don't